This is Rich Cramer with Big Mountain Enduro, and this is the Beyond the Ride podcast. This season, we'll be checking in with mountain bike athletes, brands, and individuals doing big things for the sport of mountain biking. Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. Beyond the Ride. Next episode in store for you guys for the next coming weeks. We've got a great couple guests coming out. We're trying to get a podcast out every Wednesday, once a week. And this week, we're talking with Jackson Lehrter. Jackson's a BME ops guy. I worked with him last year. And he definitely brings the vibe to the enduro world and mountain bike as a whole. His dad's a legend. I'm thinking we're going to talk all about that. His dad and the mountain bike history that's in his family. He's an East Coaster like me, and he definitely does some regional races as well as some of the bigger enduros too. Jackson, how are you, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm doing well, Rich. How are you doing?
Good, dude. We got it going.
Oh, dude, we finally got it going. That's a fight. I can't imagine.
It's all good, buddy. It's all good, man. I was just telling everybody a little intro about Jackson Lehrter, about the BME crew ops legend, the racer, a fellow East Coaster.
I don't know about that. The whole crew's just a freaking animal. East Coaster, though. That's what I'm saying.
It's awesome.
I was down in your part of the world last week or so, out there in Canoga. I was camping in Pisgah, and dude, I didn't know there was so much out there, like out in Pisgah.
Yeah, tons. You can ride for days here. You can just ride for days.
You can. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I was camping on top of, like, this ridge, and there's people coming down the mountain, and they're all on gravel bikes, and it's, like, 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm driving down, and there's, like, I probably passed, like, 50, 60 people on this one trail, and, like, I'm pretty deep in the park. Like, they were a couple miles in on their ride, and it's, like, 7 a.m. It was ridiculous, man.
Did you chat with them? Did you ask them where they were going?
No, I was too tired, dude. I was like, I just kept driving. I was drinking a Red Bull. I don't wake up before about 10 a.m. So
tell me why you were down here. I know why you were down here, but let's tell everybody else why you were down here.
So I was racing the Enduro Southeast at Canoga. They got like a test event going on. It's not part of the series. They moved that further back into the fall. But I was out there racing, excuse me. And there was just like a 4-run thing down Canoga, which sick bike park. You know a lot about that place, though.
Yeah, Canoga's got it on, got it going on. Those guys have put so much work into that place, and then Ride Rock, and it's awesome. It's a breath of fresh air to have facilities like that coming in. So how'd you do in the race? Let's get to it.
Okay, so
I know you're laid up.
Dead last, but I have a great reason.
dead last, but a great reason. So, so we're both suffering from injuries right now. We both kind of down, but let's get into yours first. All right. So here's what I know.
Let's do mine first. The less serious one.
Oh man, I don't know.
What do you know?
I don't know which one's more serious. What do I know?
I'm pretty sure. I'm good.
I know that you took a spill in practice, maybe in the parking lot, and maybe
it was real close.
And it's possible that it took your manhood. It might have taken your manhood for a day or two.
It might have bothered the family jewels.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I may have worried my girlfriend.
Was that the first person you called?
Oh, dude, it was. It took me like 10 minutes to realize what I did. Because, every crash that you have that impacts the manhood is not a pleasant one. And I was just out of the car. I was going to plug in my GoPro. So I went and I did that. And then it was still hurting. And I decided to check. And then that's when I realized I needed to go to the hospital. And I called her on the way. I was I let off. I was like, I'm not that hurt. But I'm on the way to the hospital.
Yeah. So you took a direct shot from your handlebars to the sack, and then did this completely.
Handlebars to the sack.
handlebar so sack. And then
it was a little rough.
Yeah,
it was a little rough. Just went over the handlebars, over the bars like everybody does, and common way past,
Yeah.
Went to the hospital, got them stitched up, and like you said, I did end up racing, which I'm very proud of, I have to say. But I wasn't allowed to sit down in the saddle, so I just kind of walked up and tried to chill the runs down because, after that, you're not really going race pace.
No way. I mean, when you told me that you finished, went and actually raced after going to the hospital, that blew my mind. I would have gone home, sat in a whole big bathtub of ice, and probably cried myself to sleep.
I wanted to, but I mean, it's not as bad. You took a pretty hard crash out at Nebo with the big BME crew, right?
Yeah, same thing, man. Got a core shot to the ribs from the handlebars. We were out there, and it was a cool place too, man. You're gonna love it out there. It's pretty cool, especially coming from the East Coast. Me some photos. Oh, cool. I'm glad you got to see it.
I saw a few, but it looked pretty sick, man.
Yeah, it's proper. They got proper terrain out there. It's not to be joked with, and for sure. And I learned that the hard way. But I was coming down just a new kind of trail that they've been working on, and it was just fluffy and nice and perfect. And we were laughing, having a good time. And I don't know if I lost focus or what. I kind of looked up and saw Greg. He was in front of me. He stopped, and then Rob was behind me. And Rob says my pedal hit the upslope. It was kind of a bench cut. Yeah. So he says my pedal hit, and then that just kind of catapulted me. And I was in the air, and I knew that I was going for an OTB kind of off the side of the hill. I was fine with that. It was lots of leaves on the ground. I was fine with that. But at the last second, man, the handlebar completely turned, parallel to me. And as I was going over the bars, that thing just took a perfect rib shot. Yeah,
Jesus
man,
Christ,
it makes me
man.
sick thinking about it. It does. And
it makes me a little sick thinking about it too, because I'm as a rider, you've been in that situation. You're going down, where you're going to land.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know.
It was and it was one of those too where I was trying to let out a scream, and all the air was gone, deflated, and it was just. And then I knew something was wrong. I'm just one of those accidents where I was just looking at Rob dead in the eyes, going, "Get me out of the woods. I want to get out of these woods."
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So
that's insane, man. You just it's one of those things where you're hurt, you're not quite sure how bad, and you're like, I gotta leave. I always call it you have that 2-3 minutes of just pure shock where you don't feel any pain, and you're completely lucid, and you're like, all right, I gotta get out of here right now, or I'm not gonna be able to.
Yeah, time's of essence, and I've got to get out of here. And they even tried to put me up on an e-bike and kind of so I could just put it on boost mode and kind of get out of it. I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even. So I was just shuffling out of the woods. But and then but listen, man, I didn't go racing like you afterwards. I went home and went to the hospital.
Well, to be fair, I didn't break my ribs.
Yeah.
I just put a cut in my balls. It's I'm okay. I get the stitches out tomorrow. I'll be fine. I'll be riding Monday. It's not a 2-month recovery.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks for me. And I'm fine with it. I don't even want to see the bike right now. I'm done for a little bit.
I don't blame you, man. Take a little bit of time off. You can spend it with the family, go out west, do some relaxing. And it isn't until May that the BME season starts up. So you don't got to worry about it until then. Yeah,
that's the thing too. I'm supposed to go to, we are going to Steamboat on Monday. With the kids and the family and the wife. And man, I'm debating whether I'm not even going to snowboard or not. The ribs hurt that bad. So
I mean, I don't doubt it at all. It would be tricky.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd snowboard, but I don't know. It's one thing to say that when you're sitting at home on the East Coast. It's another thing when you're out there looking at the mountains and the lift line, and you're like, oh.
Oh, I know. In the great season they've been getting tons and tons of snow. Tons.
I'm like, here. I just saw a message from Snowshoe. They're shutting down for the season, man. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And we've heard that from a couple other resorts where I'm at too. Yeah. This season,
it's a little ridiculous right now.
Yeah, in Asheville, I think maybe we got 2 inches of snow this whole season, if that, maybe. Nothing. Warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, I'm not in Kentucky, in Cincinnati, and I can't say that we've had much at all. There was a snowstorm that hit like most of like the northern parts. I was driving home from Chicago, and we got some then. Yeah. But besides that, like there's just absolutely nothing up here. We're just a little bit too far south, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Especially this season. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially this season.
So, well, let's jump into a couple BME questions, and I want to know, because I'm not even sure if I know this answer about how you found the BME. How did the BME find you? And how did you gain employment with them? And how did that all come about?
So, you can get an involved story, or you can get a shorter one.
Whatever you think.
The short one is my mom told me about it, sent me a link, and she's a mountain biker from way back. So is my dad. And so they knew a little bit about the BME. They're more cross country, not enduro. But she knew a little bit about it. She just saw that they were hiring, thought it could be a cool summer gig for me, and sent it over. But I can actually remember the story where I first found out about the existence of the BME. And that was like not even 2 years ago now. Before that, I had no idea that like Big Mountain Enduro was even a thing.
Yeah, I didn't either, to be honest with you. Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago, it got on my radar too. But it was definitely, it was on your mom's.
It kind of just popped up.
Yeah, so it was on your mom's radar. She's following it. She's been following the world of enduro.
A little bit. She's always kind of been interested in starting up like development teams in the Cincinnati area and stuff like that. So she was paying attention more to like the outside world of mountain biking than the rest of the family for sure.
Yeah.
And the big thing was there's a pro guy, Zach McHuron, that's from like this area in town. He's like the only guy from Cincinnati because we're not exactly known for our trails, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's an amazing rider. His parents were great riders. Well, his dad's a great rider. Like he was racing BME and placing like top 20. Like he's doing decently well. And he's a younger guy. And I was out riding one day and I knew of him and ridden with him when I was like real young. And I saw him and we just did a couple laps together and we were pedaling up and I was talking to him. Like, so what are you racing? He's like, I'm racing the BMEs. And I'm like, what's a BME? And he's like, oh, Big Mountain Enduro. And like, he kind of looked at me like I was a little bit of an idiot, you know, like he did. But he looked at me like, I thought you were supposed to know this stuff, man. Like, I just saw you riding. Like, you don't know what the BMEs are? I was like, no. I had no idea what the BMEs are. And then I told my mom. This kind of just snowballed from there. I'm not going to lie. Like, the next summer I ended up that was a weird story how I got hired to BME too. Because
I think we all have a weird story.
I didn't know. I was coming out to Missouri, until 2 weeks before like the race happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, a phone call from Rob, and then he was just like, "You're hired. Come to Ironton, Missouri." And then you were like, "Where's Ironton?"
Pretty much. I was like, "Where the hell am I going?" I see if I could be there in 2 weeks. And like I was in college, just graduated. Right. But that was like my exam week was the week of the BME that we had to be out there to help set it up and everything. And so like I got finals, like German finals, English finals, like the whole deal. Like and I had to ask all my teachers if I could take those like a week early. Because Rob called me like with 2 weeks notice being like, oh man, like come on here. Like we're going to work on this. And like, I was like super hyped on the job. Didn't think there was any way in hell I was going to get it. Like I'd given up on it like months ago. Turns out I just had the wrong number. shot me a call, and I was like, I mean, I guess I can do it. Like, sure, I'll be there. Like, I'll be in Missouri. And like, I got like a camper van. So it wasn't like a huge stretch. It's a 6-hour drive. So it's not in person like North Carolina or Asheville for me. So like, I called all my teachers real quick. I was like, guys, like, I have to go. Like, and they know me well. And they were like, oh, he's a racer. He needs this, whatever. And just let me take the exams early. And I just skirted on out to Missouri and got out there like a day or two early, camped in one of the parks in the area. And then kind of met the crew, which, as you know, was like a whole trip.
Yeah, it was, man. It was. We were all thrown together at the same time, and that kind of developed the operations crew for BME. Yeah, that was it. That was how we were thrown together, thrown on that mountain, and said, "Let's put together a race course."
Yeah, and like, I don't think there was maybe one or two of us that had like experience taping before that.
Right.
Like, there wasn't like we did it. Like, don't get me wrong, the race went off without a hitch, and we had a great time. And it's clear that like we picked it up real quick just from like racing and races, being around races and everything. Like, it wasn't super tricky by any means. But I do remember those first few days, like not the first few days, but the first few hours at the top of Ironton, and we're running down Cannonball. Me and who was it? It was me and Kevin running down Cannonball. Yeah. And we're just like looking at each other like, I think we should tape this. It was like, it can't hurt, right? And we must have used like twice the amount of tape as we should on that freaking route. But that trail was gnarly, man. Like, we were going down it and we were like, do you think they're all like this? Because there was like, you were going down rock slabs with like a spring running over the top of it. There was gaps in it, just like some of the worst, crappiest, sharpest rock gardens I've ever seen in my life. I was like, they're gonna race this.
Yeah, it looked like a bomb went off up there. Like they shelled the area, or like it was practice range for some kind of artillery. I mean, I've never seen boulders like that just unearthed, just giant boulders just sitting out there.
You know what I think it was?
What?
I think because that area, like, there was an old mining road that was running up it that we were using to get to the top.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that they had just cracked open all that rock from the top of the mountain and just threw it down there, just let it roll down the hill. And like, it was all just from the mining, because there was so much and none of it was eroded. You know?
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Like, it was just destroying bikes. Like, I had to retension my wheel like 5 times.
I know. It was destroying everyone's bike. Who did you see come down without an axle that one time? You saw him rolling down. Who was that?
It was Beaupre. Max Beaupre, Cannondale. And he came flying down this freaking mountain. And I'm literally just like laying in this off the side of the trail, like taking people's numbers in. Because like, I'm down there for like 8 hours, like anything to do. And he comes freaking ripping down this mountain. Like, he's on a flat section of trail with no turns on it. And I swear to God, his bike was entirely sideways at one point. He's going like 30. It was ridiculous. Like, the man is like the most aggressive rider I've ever seen in my life. And he always like, he'll look at you and he just, you can tell he's had at least one pot of coffee in the last 15 minutes, you know? It's a great dude to be around. But he comes flying off this mountain and he pops his bike over and is like just looking at it. And he's like, dude, oh my God. And he screams that probably like 10 times. He goes, oh my God. Like one of those moments that you have where like, as a racer, you cannot believe that you just survived, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And like, we all have them. We come down and you're just like, just giggling to each other. You're just like, there's just so much in you, and you're like, oh my God. He was having one of those moments, and I walk over and I was like, dude, you all right? Like, what's going on? And his axle is still on the bike, not quite in the spokes, but completely unthreaded and like hanging out by like that much. And he's at the bottom of this stage, and it was like one of the rockiest, roughest stages. And you know that like, if that axle would come out in another like quarter inch, if that, like his race is over. Like he's done. All those spokes are gone. That wheel's not holding together, you know?
And what a that would have been the worst place to take a complete yard sale tumble on those rocks. Like that would have been deadly. We saw some carnage, man. Like, that place was eating people up.
It really was. It really was. Like I remember at one point there was some of the guys, I think it was a Yeti team, was up at the top of one of the stages, and I wasn't here for this personally, but I remember somebody saying that they watched him pull out a CO2 cartridge, like hold some dude's tire on the bead, inflate the tire, and then he started his run. He was just trying to get it to hold him for the last stage.
Yeah, rocks become the multi-tool out there. They'll do anything.
No, they honestly do.
Yeah.
You're pulling like a Jack Moyer, you know, trying to bend your rim back in place.
Yeah, completely.
It was cool, man. It was a really fun race. Great introduction to the whole team too, you know.
Yeah, that was just a great introduction because it was just out in the middle of nowhere, living in that place. We got to know each other pretty well, pretty quick.
We really did. I remember we were staying in like a biker lounge, and there were bunk beds, and they had like this weird plastic wrap on the things. It was like at the same time way too hot and way too cold, and the entire inside of it was decorated like you would expect a nicely furbished barn to be decorated.
Yeah.
It was like honestly really cool. Like as much as it was like at the time being like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
Like looking back on it, it was insane.
Yeah.
There was just these guys that sat up back, and the mayor was with them, or the former mayor or something, and they just drive motorcycles and drink beer.
Yeah. At the end of that week, I think, like after the photo guys showed up, I can't even remember. Oh, the timing guys showed up. Alex and his crew showed up. There was people there were people on every chair, couch, futon, bed. That place was just head to toe a stinky ass mountain bikers.
It was so much fun. We were all trying to figure out the washing machine, and then when we tried to use it, we flooded Greg's room.
That was my room.
Oh, it was your room?
Yeah, it was my room.
That was freaking funny, man. I know. I felt so bad for you.
I was talking with Rob, and Rob was like, I was texting with him. I was like, man, this place flooded, dude. I was like, no, this isn't what you want to hear. And I kind of didn't even know what position Rob had. He was just the race director. He definitely wasn't our babysitter by any means. But he had contact. Anyway, he says, all right, I'm on my way over, man. What should I bring? I said, bring the owner. There's an ankle deep water back here, dude. I was like, a mop might touch this, but this guy's got a problem on his hand, and you might want to go track him down. But then at the end of the night, bring the owner. That's what you need to do. Bring the owner.
You were right.
I know.
You were right.
I know. Awesome. I want to play you some clips. Watch this. I was going through some footage of ours. Yeah. Well, I'm going to hit you on this. This has to be one of my greatest memories of last year, was hanging with you in the back country of Durango.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you remember that day?
Like that was I remember that day like crystal clear. That was one of the best days of my life. Like period. That was amazing, man.
Amazing, dude. This was our first time really out in the backcountry. I don't know about you, but I haven't been on many epic backcountry rides. But I think
there's not a lot on the East Coast.
Yeah. I think there's definitely not, but we had something to do that day. So we went out there all day. And when we came over this hill, that view, man, I was like, whoa. Like, where are we, dude?
I was losing it. I remember we came over that crest, and Greg had driven us up there. He was out with his back injury, went off the drop, and he drove us up there because he didn't have anything else to do. And I just remember coming up over that crest, right there in that video where you just showed. Yeah. And it was just it was like another world, and that was just absolutely just beautiful on so many levels. And you're just about to do a 20-minute descent
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That was cool.
It was cool, man. And I mean, just the vibe of just being out there all day. It was so cool, dude. It was so cool.
It was really, really sick. And like we were out there. I remember at one point we jumped in that river. I was climbing stuff. Like I felt okay, I'm 21, so it's easy for me to feel like a kid. But I felt like I was like 6 again, you know? Like I felt like I was with my dad, or not my dad, but like I felt like those first rides you go on, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's what everybody's like chasing ever since they start riding a mountain bike. It's when you're like 10, 11, or the first time you get on a bike and you're just having a great time. You're not afraid of anything, and there's just so much to learn. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Like in so many ways. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. It was an epic day. And that trail was nuts. And it was cool. Like we weren't in race mode. We were just out there, just out playing for the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I guess,
like
and you know what, man?
Probably the best part.
Hey, shout out to working for BME, because where else do you get to do this?
I know. And like, we're on the clock, Yeah. Like I remember just the whole time I was waiting for somebody to be like, all right, now give me $3,000. Cause like, I don't know. Like you were out there, like Alvaro was a former pro racer, and now he like is a guide and the whole deal. And it's just like a killer on a bike. And Rob is just like a freaking beast. And you're out there with all these like great, amazing riders, and you're doing something fun. You're putting on a race for like all of the pros, which like any of you guys watching this, like we appreciate you guys coming out to these races so much, and like the energy that these guys bring to it. Like it's just ridiculous, like how much fun they seem to have and how much fun we have as a result. Because it's great to put this kind of stuff on them,
Yeah, I agree, man. It is so cool. Everything you just said is spot on, man. I mean, what other sport that you get to go participate in, ride with, learn from the actual pros of that industry? It's super unique.
I know, like I watched your podcast with Colton the other night, and you guys were talking about that, but it is really just so unique in so many ways. And like, it isn't like I watch a lot of F1, or I have been recently. I'm still kind of new to the sport, but like there's no way, like as like just a kid that likes to drive a car and he's decent at it and he goes to a couple of local races and stuff. Like you're never going to get close to an F1 driver because they're around the world like constantly, and like you're just never going to be able to drive with them for the most part. But like as far as like riding with pros go, like you go out to one of these BMEs and like you don't really have a choice but to ride with the pros.
Exactly.
Like if you're practicing, like you're riding with the pros, and like if you want to or not, like you'll see them out there and you'll see them blow past you.
Yeah, I know. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really unique. Really unique.
Remember this part of the trail? Remember this part of this trail? You come at the very end.
That creek.
This is the very end, that last sharp left.
Dude, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was absolutely crazy. I remember Rob had some of the videos of the pros riding this section, and they just came blasting in like there wasn't a cliff right there,
Nuts.
It's like
just insane.
Oh, God, the Lord. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was, man.
Yeah, it's just a drop off on the right side there. Like, don't fall right,
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the ones.
It's not quite Moab, but it's not far off.
I know. They sent me out there early in the morning one morning just by myself, and they were like, hiking from the bottom. There's not a lot of taping that needs to be done on this course, but there is a corner that needs to be addressed. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll go out there. And I get out there, and I guess I'll know where I'm going when I get out there. Find the trail all the way up the backcountry. 200 yards from the finish is that death cliff. And I was like, whoa, dude, this is in the race? We're going to just put this in the race? Because it was at the last section of that whole trail where you just get in mock speed. The finish is close. And then there was that huge exposed overhang. I know.
It was like riding that section. It felt like it always feels like you're riding that line versus like risk versus speed. But in that section in particular, it was very apparent the consequences, shall we say, because like you're absolutely freaking cruising. And if you make a mistake, you can't go left because there's just a wall, and you can't go right because there's a cliff.
Yeah.
So like you were going so fast, and the trail was good. Like it wasn't like horrible, you know. Like if it was just a normal section of trail, you wouldn't really even touch the brakes, you know. Like coming around that corner, you do your like pre-braking or whatever, and then just rip around and maybe pop a foot because it's pretty flat.
Yeah.
But like when you're riding it, otherwise, like you had to keep doing that as a racer. But like, you just like you can't crash.
No, that was a no crash zone. And I think thankfully we got out of there okay without anybody getting too hurt. I don't think anybody went over the cliff. Look at this video.
I don't think so at all. Yeah.
This is where we went swimming.
Hopping in the river. Dude, that was great.
Freezing cold. It
was so cold.
I mean, talk about making memories, dude. That was the best day ever, man. That was the best day ever.
That was the best day ever. I'm so psyched to go back there this year. Like, I just hope we have like the same weather as we did like that week, because it was like perfect conditions, clear around for everybody. Yeah. And like, it was a good week. That was an amazing day.
Yeah. Well, I agree completely, man. And then to top it all off, you're like the triathlete out there. In bike shoes, a helmet, and a backpack full of tools and tape.
It's like I'm 5'7", you know.
So epic. Yeah, whatever.
It was killing me, man, because like you have no idea how hard it is to be like a climber and a mountain biker, because like I'll be out on the trail and like we'll pass this like gorgeous cliff, and I'm like I'll see a route, you know, this chalk on it. Or we'll pass like a boulder or something, and I'm like, bro, like I want to stop and climb that so bad, but I'm with 4 other people. Or like I don't have my crash pad or this, that, and the other thing. And it's like you almost want to like come back for it, like throw like a crash pad on your back while you're on the bike and just cruise down the mountain. Yeah. Just set up in the middle of the trail, be like, you can go around. I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah. What is your climbing status? Are you a complete just rockhead recreational climber? Do you do competitive stuff? I
never got into the competitive stuff. All the guys that I climb with are competitive. I went to Eastern Kentucky University for a little while, and not a lot of people know this, but Kentucky has, and nobody come at me for this, but I was reading like a magazine the other day that Red River Gorge is the best sport climbing area in the United States. Nice. And that is like 30 minutes away from EKU in Red River in Kentucky. Yeah. And so like I was out there like every weekend with like the climbing team, the climbing club, and these guys are just absolute crushers, man. Like they're going out there and they're sending 12s and 13s like nothing. And they're going to national competition, and like they're winning because they're more outdoor climbs than they are indoor. And it's a very different style of climbing. Like some of it's a lot more like coordination moves than that. Mm. And outdoor is just kind of like, how hard can you hold on to this rock and for how long? Yeah. So they're just killers and crushers. But like, I'd say that like, from my point of view, like I'm not competitive, obviously, but like I find climbing to be like almost like the perfect cross training for mountain biking. Mm-hmm. Because like as much of mountain biking is like physical, but like that's just like get on your bike, pedal, lift some weights, you know, like it isn't like horrible. Like obviously you get into the minutia when you're trying to be like race shape, you're trying to be like world class shape. Like at that point you're training, you're maybe not watching what you eat, but you're eating good, you're eating healthy. But like you kind of have to do that year round for rock climbing anyways. For me, just because like when you're up on the wall, you need to like weigh the least amount, but be able to produce the most amount of power. and keep it sustained for a long period of time, which is exactly what mountain biking does. It's just like rock climbing works the whole body. So it's just, I never have to worry about my grip strength on the trail just because I'm training it all the time. And so like, that's very, like, I'd say like, it's a really unique thing. It keeps your upper body in shape more so than your lower body. And then mountain biking keeps your lower body in shape. So you just get the whole deal.
That's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Total sense. Because
really nice.
I mean, everybody knows like a super long stage, you'll experience crazy grip pain. Your forearms are cramped.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's no joke. Mike, I told you.
And like,
I was telling you, trying to get my kids into climbing. But one of my, I got 2 girls, and they both love it, man. It was so cool. We took them to one of the gyms here, and they got clubs. And, cool thing about growing up here in Asheville is like, they've got these opportunities, man. They've got all these cool things to do, and their school has a climbing club. The school has a snowboard club, skiing snowboard club. So, and she's much better than I am too, man. I don't like heights. Yeah. I don't like heights. Not like that. No. Some people, what you mean. Yeah, some people took me rock climbing once early in my college days in West Virginia, and it was legit climbing, but. And it wasn't hard. No, it was actually a place called Bear Haven. These were kind of small.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah. There was everywhere, though. I mean, no, I'm not going to New River Gorge to climb, dude. I was, no.
Oh, come on, man. This is like 50-foot routes there.
This was like glorified bouldering.
You got a broken rib, you're going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But still, like, the heights get to some people. Like, It's just some people are built that way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is.
And it wasn't that I was overly
terrified. I'm all right with it, but.
It wasn't that I was like overly terrified with it. I think I felt stuck. Like I'm not moving. I got to a point where I was like, I looked down. I was like, nope, I cannot move. I don't want to move. And then I get a weird feeling like I'm falling. Like I might just fall off this. Like, do you ever get that feeling of like you're gonna fall? Like you're not falling, but you're like, I think I'm talking to myself into jumping or something. Like, I don't know. I get weird thoughts up there, man. I'm like, I don't know. I get unstable and freaky, and I don't know.
You do get really weird thoughts, like especially when you're starting out too. I remember like my first time outside, I was on like a 40-foot route, and I am just like death gripping this wall. Like I am terrified. And like my buddy Austin is just, he's a great guy, BMX rider. He's a firefighter, amazing, like adrenaline athlete. He's a great climber. Been climbing since he was little, like worked in gyms for forever. And I went out climbing with him for the first time, and he has a confidence, like spending time around this guy is really interesting. Because he has a confidence in you that you do not have in yourself. Mm-hmm. Like he is absolutely positive that you're going to be able to do this. Yeah. And so he'll put you in this situation without you having a choice in it. And like, he won't explain what you're about to have to do because he knows you'll chicken out. So like, he'll threw me up on the wall and was like, do this. And I was like, okay. Like I'm going and I'm flipping, I'm getting above bolts, and like I'm getting into fall range, and like I'm terrified, absolutely just terrified. And he's like, "You're fine, don't worry about it." And I was like, "I guess I'm fine." Yeah. It worked out great. Like it was a great way to learn, but like it was like it really got me out of that space, and it made me. Excuse me, they're both falling out. They're both. Excuse me, but it got me like out of that headspace where like you were worried because it just made you push right through it. Like you weren't like in your head beforehand. Because like with racing, for me especially, and for so many people, like the part where I really like mess up in the race or where I really like lose it isn't necessarily on the trail. It's always in my own head, you know? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I think a lot of people are like that too.
Talking about that, but yeah, do you get the anxiety before races and stuff? Like, actually, I know everybody does to a degree.
I figured mine out, and here's where I got to figure mine out. So I definitely would get anxiety all week, Especially I would have the worst practices, but race day, I would get real nervous up at the gate at any start, any race, whatever level. I don't care. I just get nervous with the crowd of people there, trying to think if you're in the right gear, remember what course you're on. But then it gets, remember where the hell you're at. And then, you get like, I don't know, 100 yards, 200 yards in, and everything's quiet. There's nobody in the woods. You can't hear a racer behind you or in front of you, hopefully. And no one's really watching you. It's nice. If you're not in a big spectated section, you're kind of on your own. And once I got into that, I would get settled, especially like deep in the woods when no one else around, no one's watching. You just ride smooth. I'm not that fast at all, but I would just go smooth, go smooth, go smooth. But that's what I found out that's what I liked that too. I was like, this is a cool aspect that you can get this anxiety and then just dump it.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
You have a really good point. Because once the races actually start, it starts to just become fun at a certain point. Like you calm down a little bit. And like any jitters that you had beforehand, like trying to be like, oh, I know that this section is on this trail. And like to get it perfect, I need to like calm down this like roll or whatever. And then like really slap that rut so I can stay high into this. And like, you just got all that going on in your head. But like the second you get out on the trail and you're riding, like your body knows what to do. You know what to do. And like to a certain point, that kind of confidence comes in and it's like, oh, I don't got to worry about it. Like I'll just look for the next turn. Look for the next corner, the next feature sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like once you're done with that and you just get to move on and it's really a good feeling. And like you start to have fun with it and really be like, all right, let's see what goes on.
Well, that's what I was digging in with Portia and Colton both about. Like it was so cool. I don't know if you did any starts last year, timing starts. Did you have any did you do any starts?
Yeah. We were at the top of stage 2 out in the backcountry in Colorado. We lit that fire up and everything.
That was the longest day. That day was so long, man.
It was so funny.
We looked at each other and we were like, should we start a fire? The bugs, man, the bugs. The bugs
were horrible.
So buggy.
Like on the side of the freaking trail.
I was like, it was so
smoke.
Just standing in that smoke. We started a fire whether we were supposed to or not. I don't know. And then we just waited forever because that climb took people forever to get up. That climb was crazy.
And they had to do that first 20-minute stage. Yeah. Like people were out until like 8 p.m. on that day. Or maybe not that late, but like the sun was getting low. Yeah. And there were still people pedaling back to the resort. Like that was a long day, dude.
Yeah. It was, man. And then remember us geeking out. Kaylee was up there with her dog looking for Nick. And then Nick took, you were like, that's Kaylee Skelton, dude. I think that might be her, man. That might be her. Yep. That was awesome. And then
she got her dog. That was honestly the best part. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like the dog and Kaylee rolled up and I just got so excited that there was a dog at the top of the mountain that I just I thought that was it. And then I looked up and I was like, oh, that's the national downhill champion.
I know. That was fun. She couldn't hang with the bugs. She hated the bugs. She had to dip. Even with the fire.
Blame her, man. I would have done the same thing. I had to be up there.
Yeah, that was a long day, man.
But what stuck with me as far as like the race goes on that one and like the people out there was, you remember Mitch Ropalata coming there?
Yep.
Dude, he was like a solid hour in front of everyone else. There was like one 60-year-old cross country, just gnarly dude that was 5 minutes behind him. But Mitch just rolled up, got some water, switched his, flipped his chip on his bike, and then just freaking crushed it. He's back in the village for lunch.
Yeah, he was back in the village. Yeah, I know. We kind of couldn't believe we saw him coming over. We're like, okay, where's the rest of everybody? That was it. I was like, you want to go?
Dude, like,
you're on your own.
I still can't believe it.
I know.
Yeah, I know. And like, we didn't even like have the timing set of anything. We had to like do everything. He kind of got up and got the water and everything. We were like, oh, we got to get ready.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of looked at us and was like, am I good? And I was like, yeah, go whenever, dude.
Yeah.
Up there for like 2 minutes tops.
Was that the stage? Was that the stage that Cody crashed on too? Were we at the top?
Dude, that was the one.
Yeah,
that was the one. Like, I remember it was like, obviously I wasn't down there. We were at the top, but I remember Rob saying that it was like probably like 7/8, like 3/4 of the way down the track. He just like took an unfortunate little thing and like went a little bit down the side of the mountain, got a concussion. And that was a little bit crazy to hear, because like that was a really, really fast stage, man. Like, it doesn't surprise me that somebody could have got hurt on that. Like, don't get me wrong, it was safe. It was probably much safer than the other one, because there was no exposure. There was no weeds to your handlebars on.
Yeah.
But it was like, it wasn't gnarly, but it was like just natural flow for like 8 minutes for the pros or 6 minutes for the pros or whatever. And like,
yeah, exactly.
You were just cruising towards the end there.
And it was loose, so maybe he just, I don't even know the details of the wreck. If he like washed out or hit a rock, I don't even know what happened, but I know he was down and out. That was it. That was it for the day.
I mean, which is a smart choice. And like, I'm really happy to see like riders making that decision nowadays, you know, because like, I'm not sure a couple of years ago even they would have, but like the prevalence, or not the prevalence, but like the caution around concussions nowadays is like really good to see, because I don't know, like it's coming out, a lot of stuff's coming out that's like it's more serious, like repeated concussions, like 1 concussion, 2 concussion, like even like 5 concussions, you're gonna be all right. But like 5 concussions a year for like 5 years straight, and they're pretty bad. Those are, I don't know. You hit 60 and you forget to breathe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the way to go out with like CTE or, you know, just becoming a sponge at the rest of your life. And it's not good. But you can always tell, I guess it's time to take like if you hit your head hard enough and the helmet breaks, then I think it's time to, you know, maybe call it a day or something, you know?
Yeah, call it a day on that one. Like, take a step back.
Yeah.
Stay away from alcohol. Go back in and like stare at like a wall for 1 hours. Yeah.
Have you ever had a bad wreck where you got knocked out?
Never knocked out, but I had a wreck just at like a little like regional Enduro Southeast event last year. It was like the final race in the series, and like I was racing Cat 2-3 at the time, and I had done really well at all the other races. So I was like pretty much almost guaranteed the series win at this one. But like, I wanted to win this race like really bad. Like, I'd come 3rd at 2 of them, 4th at the other one. And like, that was with crashes, you know? So like, I knew that like I was able to win this race, like on a day where I could keep it in check long enough to not crash, you know?
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was I was going down a track, and the way that I described this track to myself at the first race that we held there, because it was 2 in this series at this place, because it was just a newer place and it was in a nice spot. But I just told myself that this track was like a downhill pump track. And as a result, you could carry as much speed as you could hold on to through like 2 key corners, you know? And I had already crashed once, and it was like a bad crash, you know? Like I punched the hell out of a tree coming down this track and just flown over the handlebars. Like, I landed like a solid 15 feet away from my bike, but like I landed in this bush, and like I didn't have a scratch on me. I wasn't hurt. Nothing was bruised. And like, I was just kind of looked around like, how am I okay? You know?
Yeah.
And like ran back up, jumped on the bike. And like, I didn't do bad. I think I came in like 4th on that stage or something crazy.
Yeah.
Cause like I shouldn't have been racing Cat 2-3, but like, I really wanted to win the series, you know?
But now, I mean, speaking of Cat 2-3, tell me this year you're going to race pro. You're racing everything pro level.
Here's what I gotta say. Here's what I gotta say. All right, I feel the need to justify myself on this one because, to be entirely honest, it's really freaking stupid. Like,
no, it's not. It's a good choice.
Racer, and I'm just signing up for the pro category because I want to see what happens.
It's great,
but it's fun, man. It is so much fun because, like, I don't know, like working for BME, I just felt silly, especially at like regional races. Like, don't get me wrong, Enduro Southeast, down in Southeast, like you get your Vital Raw videos of it. Like you're out at Windrock, you're out at like national level stuff. But like, it isn't a national level race. It's a regional. Like you're not going to get guys flying in from California. Nick Nestorov probably isn't going to show up at one of like the down in Southeast. Actually, he might have been at a couple of them. Unless
he does go to Windrock.
yeah. If he's out at Windrock, but he's not going to show up for like TTC. But then again, we did have Lucas Shaw out there. But like outside of the regional pros, the guys who live in the area, usually it's not like super fierce competition. It's like you got Nico out there, you got Max out there, you got guys like my hometown guy Zach out there, and you got like builders from Windrock, Canuga, Rock Creek now. And they're shredders, they're racers. Like there's really good guys out there, but it's not like the stakes are that high. You know, like the furthest away you're going to hear people coming from is like New York or like maybe Florida. It's like a 10-hour drive isn't worth it for some of these races for the most part. They're really fun, really good, really well put together races, especially the down in Southeast. But it's like, it's not a BME. It's not a national series. It's not a World Cup.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm signing up for pro on those. And, getting my ass kicked by Max Beaupre. He beat me by 2 minutes at Canuga. Two minutes. Yeah. Actually, it's a minute 58 to give me semantics. But like I figured I just feel a little bit silly signing up for anything lower because like I work for BME. Yeah. Like you don't want to be around that kind of scene, and like I'm so comfortable in the race now that it's like, like it just feels stupid to sign up for Cat 1. Like I may not be that quick, but like as far as comfortability and like I'd even say to a degree experience, like understanding how these events work, like I don't know, it feels wrong to sign up for anything less than pro. Plus, like I don't know, I don't want to.
You don't want to be known as the sandbagger, that guy who just sandbags cats just to get the series. Exactly. You don't need another series.
Like I figured, like if I sandbag Cat 2-3 all year, like as penance, I'll skip Cat 1. Yeah. Okay. I'll go get my ass beat by the pros for like a little while so I can get up to speed.
I mean, listen, I think every rider will agree that nothing makes you a better rider than riding with people that are better than you. It's such an easy equation. Like soon as you get on the wheel of someone who's better than you and you go, okay, I got to step it up and here's how you do it. It's right in front of you. Somebody's doing it much better and much faster than you. So how do I do that? And just following people is amazingly helpful, And
it's like, I know exactly what you mean. Like I've been really lucky to follow a couple like of the really, really good guys in my area, and like Alvaro out of BME, he's amazing free rider, amazing rider, period. And like following him, and even just being like, hey, like you've seen me ride, like what do I need to do? And like I remember at one point I asked him that at Purgatory, and he was like, you need to lean over your front handlebars a little bit more. And like I was like, that is oddly specific, but like I will do that. And next run down, it was a different bike. Yeah. Like I just wasn't putting enough weight on the front to get the traction that I needed through corners. And it was just a stupid mistake. But like, I just never ridden with anybody that was like, that did that, just because there's not many great riders in my area that aren't cross country riders. And cross country, like you're not exactly like cross country. It's a lot more important to be able to keep pedaling than it is to hold all of your grip through a corner, So like those guys for the most part just kind of like can get down the downhills, can get through the rock gardens, and they're good, great technically. but a lot of their training is just devoted to like how many watts they can put in the bike for how long.
Mm-hmm.
And so like following Alvaro, even following like you and Greg to a degree, there was like certain things that you pick up from other riders that I just didn't know. And it was really, really sick to be able to do that. And I'm looking forward to riding with some better riders throughout the course of the BME. And like I'm doing, like I'll be up in Kellogg this year and doing a couple other races like that. I might go to North Star. I might try to make it out to Sea Otter just to like give it a little bit of a look-see depending on the schedule. And yeah, like I'm really psyched to ride with some really good guys out there and just like learn everything that I'm doing that I'm not doing, I should say, because I'm doing a lot of things right, but there's a lot that I need to do that I'm not. You know?
Yeah. There's always something. Always.
Exactly.
But wasn't it cool last year too? Like I noticed this. I don't know if you did, but I mean, how just being available at these mountains a week prior to the race, and we just settle in. Like the more comfortable we got towards the end of the week, and how better we all progressed, even by the end of the season, was remarkable. It was so fun.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was a good group of riders.
That's kind of why I feel so comfortable signing up for the pro category. It's because like I have these like this opportunity with BME. It's like sure you're working, but like to work you need to ride, and it's like a requirement. So there's no like, oh, I'm not going to get out of bed at 6 a.m. and go get on my bike and go for a ride. Like there is none of that because that's what you're being paid to do. Like that's the reason. Like, and it's not even like, sure, like you're getting paid to do that, but like there's been plenty of times where like I got to wake up and like go to Chipotle to like mix ingredients or go into work and like start preparing stuff so that we can open at 10. Yeah. And like I just hit the snooze button and pass back out and like I either show up late or just call it, you know. But like at BME, you can't do that because number one, there's 7 other dudes there. They're sleeping in the same room as you, and one of them was an undercover cop, and he's gonna beat your ass. He's not. Greg's a great guy, but but you know what I mean. Like, and like the pros are depending on you. Got this whole like community that's like, we need a good race, and like you're wanting to put it together for them because like that's just what you're there for. You're there to like make sure everybody has a good time, to put on a great race. And like that feeling like at the end of the week where like nobody died, you're having a good time. Yep. Nobody complained too much about the tracks, and like any complaints that they did have, you were able to like help out with, and everybody had a good time. It looks like it's such a gratifying feeling when you're like, yeah, like we put on this race and everybody liked it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the come down is quite crazy. Like we're the last people in the parking lots. Everybody's gone. Every banner's down. Every piece of tape's been picked up, hopefully. And it's just crazy to like shut that trailer for the last time that week. You're like, wow, we did it, man. We actually,
it really is.
We pulled that off.
And like, it's, the only thing that I can like liken it to that I've heard of is like I used to do like a little bit of theater, and I've had like a lot of friends that are in theater, but like it's like how they would put on a production for a play, you know? And like obviously we're not like performing a play, but we're putting on a production. Like there's so much that goes on within the race. Like it's like you've got, how many guys do you think are on our team? Like 15, 20?
Yeah.
And we're out there from like 6 a.m. until times like 6 p.m., like 12-hour shifts on the bike in the backcountry, running up and down the hills. And like, even like, we're really going until it gets dark. Cause like, even when we're not working, we're working.
Absolutely.
Like you're out for some laps, you're having a good time, but you got to roll a tape in your back. And like, you see tape down, you stop, you fix it. Like that's all there is to it. There isn't like, there's so much independence that comes with it. And like, you are responsible for the race. So like, you're out, you're having a great time, you're running party laps in the flow trail. Like, it's just like, that's what dreams are made of, you know? There's 10 guys behind you. You're all good riders. You're all on good bikes. You're all having a good time. It's not like at home where like, there's like 3 good riders and then 2 guys on e-bikes. And then one dude is one guy's friend. And he's on a fully rigid bike from the 90s and he's going to die. And you're going to have to call the ambulance.
Yeah. The guy who doesn't wear a helmet. I went for a ride one time in Asheville here with the guy I ride with, Dan, And we showed up there and he was like, man, I think Dan had sold his bike to someone. And maybe it was I don't even know. He sold his bike to someone. He said, that someone is going to come ride with us. I was like, all right, whatever. That's fine. Well, what's his name shows up with shorts, no shirt, and no helmet. And I was like,
shirt and no
helmet. And it wasn't a crazy trail we were going on. It was just ridgeline, a trail here in Asheville. It's whatever. And he was just, you could tell though, man, I hope this guy's not listening to this, but I don't even know his name. I don't care. I don't care. Because you know what? My conclusion was, this dude is, and what we told him, I said, that's fine, man. Don't wear a helmet, but I'm not getting you out of these woods. You're on your own. I was like, just be known, like, this is your dumb fault. So if we go in there and you can't get out, then I'm not carrying you out. Forewarned. And then sure enough, man, like he sucked so bad. And this one little roller, he went over and just, sure enough, like a turtle just went right on his back, rolled right over the bars, right on his back. Bike on top of him, just laying there, like, and I just shook my head. I was like, man, whatever, it just got out of there. So I still tease my friend Dan about this, man. I'm like, dude, do not bring that guy. I hope you never see that guy, but.
No, honestly, you should though, because like, there are certain, okay, and I hate to say this, but like, even like especially certain trails, like obviously, like, there are certain trail systems, like especially in my area, where it's like, it's flat. There's like 3 routes. And as long as you have like 20 millimeters of front suspension, you're not going to feel a bump. Yeah. And like those perfect for beginners. They can go out there, they can cruise it. Like I'll take my girlfriend who has like barely ridden a bike out there, and she's fine. She has a great time. They hang out by the fucking river. We chill. And, so it's a good time. And I think that's perfect for new riders. But then at a certain point in time, like you're going out for a ride and you mention it to a buddy and he's like, I want to come, man. And I'm like, you really don't want to come. Like I'm about to ride 20 miles on 300 feet of elevation, like I'm going to ride the same trail 19 times. And you don't want to be there for that because I'm going to be there for 6 hours and you've never ridden a mountain bike. It's like, it's one of those things where like, I love introducing friends to the sport, but
you can really also tell you got to be, you do have to be careful what you get people into. There's no doubt about that. Like you do have to step it back. You do have to tame it back a little bit. And what's cool though, is to see the ones that stick with it, like there's countless guys that you just never see again. You just never see them again. And then there's some some you wouldn't think of, just stick with it forever. It's awesome.
Like I've got a couple of different experiences like that, but like some dudes should just stick with it. Like my buddy Austin, like I was mentioning, the climber guy, like he's got like 2007 step jumper. It's like the first gen that had suspension on it. Yeah. And he got it. He stole it from EKU because he worked at the adventure program there. And they were just sitting in some basement, like leaking shock oil. Like, like he found the only one with working suspension on it. And he just yanked the thing. He just yoinked, and it's in his house now. And he's managed to like rebuild the shock to where it will compress and it will rebound, which is great because he knows a decent bit about mechanics because he's a BMX dude. And it's got like 26-inch wheels, and they built this like little tiny bark park in Peoria, Kentucky, and it's got like paved pump track. And like probably it doesn't have hardly any elevation, like no real berms. There's a couple jumps, but they're mostly just big piles of dirt that you can get some air on. Yeah. And I haven't ridden it yet personally, but I've watched the videos and everything. And I'm really psyched to get out there, honestly. Like I want to get out there and ride with this dude because Austin on a crappy bike and a crappy place is going to have the best time of his life. And he's going to try and pull a 360. And that's all there is to it.
Oh, you got to get that on film.
I couldn't see a backflip attempt, you know, like I don't know what's going to happen because this man is insane.
That's awesome.
And I'm just like psyched to go out there with him and like do the climbing and the whole deal. But yeah, like certain guys, like he would be fine bringing out, but like my brother's girl, she wants to come out with me. She's like, I've known her for years, like family friend sort of thing, but she doesn't know how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
And like, I'd have to teach her to ride a bike first. And like, some people just can't do it, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I hate to put it that way, Ripley, if you're listening to this, but like, you know, like.
Well, what I like to do first is like, is you got to be self-sufficient a few times on your own. And then like you have to go out on your own, find a climb. Can you climb the bike? That's number one. And then can you climb, especially around the East Coast, man? It's just nothing but climbing every day.
It's nothing but climbing. And like, if you're going to ride like any descent at all, if you're going to get like cumulative more than like 15 minutes of descent, you're climbing for like,
it's all
like
day.
At least double that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's fun, don't get me wrong. And there's certain stuff around this area that I can show and everything.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit better because I'm not dying on a 170 mil Spire, you know, and trying to crank. Like I'm trying to get it around the corner still because there's like 4 berms in Cincinnati.
What bike are you on?
Like, the boost decent.
What bike did you say you're on?
I'm on the Transition Spire, so like my orange alloy one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a street bike, man. Like I'm coming from my first bike was a Trek Session, and no downhill park near here, so I was going down a Windrock, and I didn't make it down a whole lot, but it was worth it. Like it was sick. First time down there, I probably wiped out like, let's go like low teens. Like I probably wiped out like 14 times, and 14th one, I had to go home. But well, I got out there, man, and like there's these guys, and like I'm on a Trek Session that looks beat to hell. I kind of look like I know what I'm doing. Like I don't. Like I'm in gym shoes.
I'm just gonna say,
I'm not riding cliffs.
Yeah.
Like I don't have pads. I'm renting a helmet. Like it's pretty clear I have no idea what's going on, but my bike looks like I do, you know?
Yeah.
It's been ridden because I got it off of like a rental place. I got it off of Trestle actually out in Winter Park. And so yeah, I'm out there with those dudes that like come to Windrock a couple times a year, live in the Knoxville area, like ride a lot, are good riders. And I'm trying to follow them down. And like, I was like, you guys want to go first? And they're like, no, man, you got the bike for it. You should go first. I think they were fucking with me because I wiped out. I'm like, oh, these guys are quick. I got to be faster than them. You know, like it's your first time out. Like you're trying to like show that you got like huge balls, you know, like you're trying to show up. I make it probably 15 seconds into the freaking blue trail and I eat shit. And I'm just laying there like, fuck. And, yeah, they rolled up. They're like, you good, bro? I'm like, I'm going to go in the back. And we were going down all sorts of fun stuff out there. And like, I was just eating it left and right. It was so much fun, like get into it. But like, it really kind of opened my eyes because like Windrock is like, have you ridden there?
Yeah, I've been there once. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like, it's no joke, you know?
Yeah, it's no joke.
Yeah, it's no joke. And like that was, as far as downhill goes in this area though, it's like one of the only options unless you want to get out to snowshoe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And now Rock Creek, which I got to get out to. That place looks
so
awesome.
Fun, man. It's so cool. It's so cool. I had a crash out there one day. Oh, you know who I saw out there? I saw Weston. Remember Weston from last year? I-9?
No way. Yeah, the guy that works for I-9?
Yeah. It was funny. And if he's listening, he'll finally understand what happened. That day, I saw him in the parking lot, and then the shuttles were running. He had to do something. I just said, we'll meet up there, and we'll meet at the top. And I caught one of the first shuttles. It was busy, and I was like, I'll just take a quick run by myself. And they got some pretty good-sized jumps out there that they're safe. I mean, you just got to hit them with speed. And on the first lap down, I hit it with too much speed and just nosed down and couldn't save it. And it was like one of those crashes. I just got up and I was like, I'm good. I'm fine. Everything's good. But I think I'm just going to go home. And I just left quietly, didn't say goodbye to anybody. So Weston,
goodbye.
Boom, gone. It's like, yep, no one saw it. No one, I'm good. I'm fine. But yeah, I'm just going to go home. So Weston, if you're listening, man, I went home that day. Sorry, buddy. Yeah. I didn't want to face the crowd. Gone. Yeah. Forget about it.
You got those days though. So like sometimes you're just out there and you eat it and you're like, ooh, this is not like a wake up crash. This is like I'm going to leave. This is like all right, it doesn't get better from here.
It can only get worse. Or you go, I got
some food and like think about this for a week.
Yeah. You're like, maybe I got lucky on that one and I'm not going to push it. So going home in one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you coming back?
I got problems with that.
Are you coming back down to this area to ride Rock Creek before BME starts? Are you going to be around?
Yeah, there's a Dono Southeast going on out there.
Okay.
It's after Tennessee Nationals. So, yeah, I'll be down to Rock Creek. I don't know exactly when. I got my computer right here. But yeah, like Nico's race series.
Yeah.
Is obviously going off there at some point. And like, I wanted to get out there once it's all bedded in and everything. And it sounds like it's getting to be that way.
Yep.
So wait, where is it? Oh, it's in April.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's April 14th through the 16th. So you might be semi-healed, hopefully.
Good.
But yeah, it's like, when is the first BME? It's May something.
Yeah. 20th, maybe 20th.
It's May 6th through 7th.
6, 7. What are you going to...
So it's honestly only like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
What are you going to do this year for BME? I mean, last year you drove your van everywhere, didn't you? Like every stop you drove?
I'm doing that again.
You are?
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. The first one in Arkansas, my family, obviously like not current racers. My dad's great rider, getting a little bit older, looking for some like more like family oriented, more like cross country style trails, like get a little bit of air, get some speed going and like have some fun with it. And my little brother's just getting into it. We just finally got a bike that fits him because he's like massive, needs an extra large, 3 years younger. And my mom is just a crusher. She's got an e-bike and she just likes to get out and rip up trails when she can. Not super huge downhill riders in the modern sense. Obviously back in the 90s, they were all about it. But we're gonna do the Mountain Evo, which I'm psyched on because I get my like week of downhill riding in. It sounds like we're gonna have really cool accommodations and like the guys out there it sounds like it's just gonna be a really, really stick race, kind of like more like home style. And like honestly, the thing that I'm most excited about for Evo is like love the riding, like super stoked on that, love everything about that. But I really want some Southern barbecue. Like so much.
Yeah.
I'm looking to go to Arkansas and just like after work, like one time we went out in Missouri, like it was like the best thing in the world. Like we just put on like working our asses off and we got like $200 to spend at that barbecue place because our room's flooded. And I just remember it was like the best thing I've ever eaten, you know?
That was, we got like one of everything on the menu that night. We got everything. That place was great.
I think that we literally asked the waitress for that. She's like, how much does one of everything on the menu is?
Yeah.
And then her and Greg flirted with her for like 10 minutes. And like, I was like doing the math on his phone and everything. But it was pretty sick. And, but yeah, we're going down there and I'm stoked for my like downhill riding, stoked to get like the season started and everything. But then I'm going out to Bentonville, if you've heard anything about that.
No, don't.
So Bentonville, it's a really, really weird one. Bentonville is where Walmart was founded, and this is relevant. That's where the first Walmart is, like the Walton family, the whole deal. But his sons are mountain bikers, apparently.
Okay.
And their hometown, like, well, obviously not failing because it's the first Walmart, but that's not like a huge tourist draw, you know? And like, as far as industry goes, I don't know what the town did, but like they didn't have a whole lot going on these like recent years. So they took like millions of dollars. The Walmart Foundation did, the Walton family. And because the sons were mountain bikers, they just invested it all in trail building. So like, cool. There is so many miles of trail just going down at all times out there, like around the town, in the town. And they've made it into an entirely like bike accessible city with these like really sick Airbnbs, these really cool trails. Now, obviously not a lot of elevation. So it's not something that like BME would be interested in, not something that like super hardcore enduro riders are going to be there. Like this is the training camp sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it just got announced as like one of the training grounds or the training ground for the US cross-country team or something along the lines. So like they're building insane trail mileage, like flow trail, the whole deal. I think they have a trail that's made out of like metal and concrete. It's a flow trail, like with pump track sort of thing. And like they have whole trails that are built in like pump track style. Like you got the lines, you got the asphalt, the whole deal, except it's like 200, 300, 400 feet long and goes down along this creek in like a nice park. And at one part they have like a bar that's accessible in the middle of a trail system that's only accessible by hiking or mountain biking.
That's
it's just
cool.
A bar out there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's legit.
So, like,
that's cool.
It isn't necessarily a place that like I'm going to train. Like it won't be horrible, like for riding. Like there'll be jump lines. There'll be some technical sections like outside of town sort of stuff. But like really, I'm just like to take like my dad, my mom, my little brother out there because they're not racers. They ride for fun. And this is like their perfect place to go, you know? And it's like cool. 2 hours away from Nebo. It's perfect. And so like, I'm really psyched too, to see like what kind of crowds we get out at Nebo because we're going to be drawing from that. Like actually, I'm a little annoyed at this one because it's like, obviously like Whistler or Rotorua that can claim to be like the mountain bike capital of the world, you know? Like those guys have the most trail, the gnarliest riders are like Switzerland, Zermatt, whatever. But I think Bentonville has renamed themselves the mountain bike capital of the world.
Oh no!
I know.
Can you do
like
that?
it's really
is that
weird.
allowed?
Like, I was really pissed about this for so long.
Yeah, is that allowed?
Because it's like, I don't think it is, man.
No.
I think Walmart just is stealing mountain biking. Is what I think's going on
here. They're coming for us. The family, they're coming.
Okay. With that being said, they're building some cool stuff.
Okay, well, take some pictures in Mountain Bike USA. You make sure to get all the photog opportunities, and you go do that. My
mom will make sure it happens. So I don't gotta worry about it. Hands off, you know.
Yeah. Hey man, so talk a little bit. You just brought up your dad. I forgot all about this. Talk a little bit about your dad, man. Your dad is a legend of some sort. Am I wrong?
Yeah. In a way, he's not like legendary in the way that like John Tomac is, you know, or Miss Giove. He's not like one of those people, but like he was living in Durango, like a block away from Miss Giove. Like he's not Miss Giove, but like he was around.
Yeah.
And he was racing like the Sport Class in Kentucky, you know, but like he was still riding through the 80s, through the 90s. He to this day will go out and work on his little trail system. In our hometown. And that's the reason that we moved here in Kentucky, because like it was near family and they would let him build trails. And so like he's a really like calm, focused, like very like logical guy, like used to build lasers, like that kind of mindset, and like really interested in like astronomy and the whole deal. But like that's why he loves to mountain bike, because like he'll go out there and he knows exactly how much power he lays down for certain sections. And like he just loved doing that. And so like when he was out in Durango, he's going out there and building, like he built World Cup DH, like the original trail. He was on the build crew for that.
No way.
And so like, yeah, absolutely. And like, he wasn't necessarily riding it at the same speeds, but it wouldn't surprise me if he at least went down it once or twice. Yeah. And like in our basement, we have like this huge stack of medals from when he was just racing. And it's back in the days when like he was coming from being a roadie. He watched, have you ever seen this movie? It's like from like the 70s, 80s. It's called Breaking Away.
No, that doesn't ring a bell. No.
So it's about like this race that goes off in Bloomington, Indiana. And it's a road race that goes around a track, and you're given a team and you have to complete a certain amount of laps. And the big thing in this race is there's one guy, he's a hometown dude, and he's a road rider. He's obsessed with the French. Like, his family thinks he's French, the whole deal. Like, for people that have seen the movie, it rings a bell. But like, the big thing about it is like, there's this scene where he's out on the highway and he's like following a trucker, and the trucker is protecting him from the cops, and he's on a road bike.
Yes.
Like, it's really sick. Like, the cops are trying to catch him, and they're like going around this freaking, like, he's just laying down lots, keeping away from the cops on the flipping highway, man.
Yes.
And like, there's a freaking like truck just helping him out, and the whole deal. And like, there's a footage of it. Like, they got an old quarry that you can go cliff jumping in on out there, and it's like, it's just like a really idyllic like 80s film. And my dad and my mom, like, that is one of the first things that they showed me. Like, I grew up on that and the Tour de France.
Nice.
So, like, to relate this back into the story that I was telling, my dad is a roadie that mountain biking got invented, and he got into it.
Yeah.
Like, he was coming out, like, he was buying, like, not the first gift fishers, but like in the 80s when it was finally getting mass produced, the sport was finally getting popular. Like, if you want to call it like the pre-golden years, because obviously in my mind, with what Jackson Gold Show's doing and the World Cup and UCI and everything getting combined, we're coming into another golden age of mountain biking, especially with everything going on in Europe. But that was like the original golden age of mountain biking, and he was like right there for that. And in this region, he was like one of the forerunners. So like, he wasn't necessarily like the best racer or best rider, but he was really into the sport. He was always riding, always just wanting to get out there and have fun. And I remember, like, he took me out for the first time. Well, he taught me to ride a bike when I was 2.
Yeah.
And then he took me out riding for the first time when I was 5. And I crashed really hard. And I didn't go out again until I was 6.
I'm taking a year off, Dad. Back off, dude.
I think I got a concussion, bro. Like, yeah. I remember this. Like, my first memory of mountain biking is I remember the trail. I remember where it was. I ride the trail still, like, every day. Yeah. Like, the new version of it. We had to re-up it or whatever, like, redo it just to keep it, like, draining right and everything. But, like, I just remember I was coming into a left-hand corner. It was a 180 with a bunch of roots. Too much speed, slammed the brakes, went over the bars, flew for like a solid 4 feet, hit my head on a log. I was like a missile. A little 5-year-old missile. Just shooting. It was so much fun, man. That part was a fun. I cried for a little while. We got home. I figured it out eventually.
Did he really say that you took a year off? Did you take a year off and like didn't do anything? He couldn't get you back on a bike for a year?
Man, my mom got scared. She wouldn't let me ride. She started playing soccer.
Moms, like, you're done. It's too good.
It was fun.
That's crazy.
It was a lot of fun. And then, like, I was just always going to his races, and he was setting up youth races, and like, those were the only races in the area, and he was pretty much just setting them up for like him and his buddies to ride, obviously, but also like the whole youth race series he was putting on for me. So like, I owe so much to that man. Like, as far as like my development as a rider, as a racer, is like, I got exposure to it in this area that like nobody really gets, you know. Mm-hmm. Like, I go out riding with like guys from this area that don't race or anything, and it's just like I was doing things that they were doing when I was like 6, you know, like 7, 8, 9. And like, just because my dad was doing it, and like, it's not quite the same. It's a little frustrating because like, this area is so isolated in terms of mountain biking. Like, we're not near the mountains. There's 2.5 hours away. There's a downhill park, I should say. It's like literally like a state park, and some dude runs shuttles out of the back of his truck on weekends sometimes.
Okay.
Okay. It's called Horntail. It's pretty sick. Like, they got some decent trails. They got some decent lines, but like, none of the trails are longer than like 2 minutes. It's like, if you're in Ohio, it's nice, but like, Windrock's like 4 hours, which isn't horrible. Yeah. But like, that's like $100 in gas both ways, $50 for a lift ticket. You got to find camping. And then that place is so gnarly that like, if you're coming into it as a newbie, like you are taking some risks, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
it's just like this region is really underdeveloped, despite we have not a crazy amount of elevation, but like at parts we can get up to like 400 or 500 feet. And that's not horrible. And we have decent terrain. We have good rocks. Like it could be gnarly stuff. And like the stuff that I ride out here, like the runs are a minute long, but it's gnarly minute, you know, like you're on the bike full concentration the whole time. And like, so what we've done is really nice. But like I said, there's only a few guys that come out of this area as really good riders. And even then, a lot of the times they're more like geared toward cross country, unless they're like Zach Mahuron and they're going down to Windrock like every weekend, building down there, eventually living down there. He was living with Damon Sedeby, the who we met. Do you remember this? It was the Cannondale guys. It was Max and Damon at the top of the hill in Ironton, like first day out there, first day that the pros were practicing. But Damon is a hell of a rider. I don't know him that well personally, but obviously by reputation, if you're near Windrock, you know who Damon Sedeby is. He's always there. He's always riding, and he's just a crusher. And like obviously Max has gotten his big break in a lot of ways. He's on the Cannondale factory team. He's moved up from the the Cannondale farm, and he's racing Tasmania. He's going to race the whole series. Yeah. And he was out in Italy last week, and he's on a new bike, new frame, fresh paint job, really fresh, clean helmet. And he's just like on another level right now. And you can tell that he's ready to go out there and cruise that. And like, my thing is Damon's doing everything that he's doing. He's just not quite getting the same success. And I think he's one of those breakthrough riders. I really do. Because like, if you're building at Windrock and riding there every day, like that place doesn't produce bad riders, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, no way. That's awesome. Yeah. You know, that place started out as a crazy off-road, like Windrock when I first moved here years and years and years ago. Like it's gnarly off-road, four-wheeling, Jeeps, all kinds of stuff back there. It's crazy terrain.
It is. But did you know that while all that was going on, there was a group of downhill riders, free riders that were riding it?
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So that's the history of Windrock then, like, kind of then.
Yeah, exactly. And like they were on like these old bikes, like early 2000s sort of stuff. And they didn't even really have trails built. They had just kind of raked in some stuff, which at Windrock is near suicidal in many ways. Because like on those old bikes, like they couldn't handle the terrain out there. Mm-hmm. Like there were these crazy guys from Tennessee just going out there and launching themselves down this hill. And I think there was a quote from one of them, and it was like, yeah, if you're out at Windrock for a weekend and you come out of it in one piece and your bike comes out of it in one piece, that's about as much as you can ask for.
Yeah.
It's not like you're trying to get out of there feeling fast or feeling good. Like you're trying to get out of there. Like in the old days, it's a little bit different now because it's more groomed. Kind of. It's a nice park. It's great. It's rough, gnarly, natural, and fun. But like, there were these guys out there that were just basically almost killing themselves going down this mountain, and it's like a really cool history. And I don't know any of the guys personally, but like I'd like to, you know.
Well, let's give them a shout out. Maybe they're listening. Maybe I can get them on this podcast and we can get the history of Windrock. Wouldn't that be cool? The history of Windrock.
Come on out here, boys.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Are you so what's your season looking like then? You've entered a handful of races, it sounds like, plus travel with the BME. You got a busy summer coming up.
Absolutely. Like the thing about the travel with the BME is I'm living out of my van. Yeah. And I got like a nice conversion from the whole deal. So similar to what Colton was doing last season, it sounds like, which respect to him because what he went through coming up to all those wins, badass.
Isn't that crazy?
Badass rider. Cool dude. Yeah, absolutely awesome. Like, just like real, like you were saying in the podcast, ambassador of the sport, you know,
for sure.
Like he's the guy you want to be talking to. Like I was in Germany recently and he was out of Mount Bachelor posting photos and I hit him a message and like, he may have known who I was through BME, but like he was responding like that, just getting right back to me being like, air quality's pretty good. I'm doing my race runs. And I was like, that's sick. And then like, didn't want to take too much this time. I was like, and like, I know a lot of racers wouldn't have done that, you know, like if you hit up even just like Parker and here and stuff like that, they're not going to respond to you. So like what he was saying yesterday, or well, you talked to him. I watched it yesterday.
Gotcha.
Like him getting back to people, he actually does do that. Like he's just a stand-up dude. Like he's actually just all about the sport and making sure everybody has a good time, which is sick. 100% shout out to him.
100%, man. Yeah, agree. He's been totally. He's let me have nice access to his life, man. He's been a true friend, and he's so nice. Picks up the phone whenever, and I want to call him. I want to get him on one of these podcasts if he's listening now. When he's down in where's the first round of the UCI, the World Series?
Oh, Tasmania.
Yeah, I want to get him on after that. Get those boys on maybe a group call. That'd be so cool to hear what's going on down there. Yeah,
dude, that would be absolutely sick. Because I was really curious to hear about all that. Because those are our boys. Yeah, they're going out there and they're gonna screw it up, man. They're gonna they're gonna show them what's up.
I know,
and like I'm excited for it because I think it'll be really nice. Like Tasmania, I've watched a couple of the videos, just like getting an idea of what the race is going to be like. It's sick, man. Like from the race, they've held races there before, and it's pretty cool. Like it's going to be really, really fun to see. And plus, like, I mean, the Australians are just fun people. You know, like every Australian that I've met has just been awesome, man. Like, so cool. I've met many Australians, but they're just like funny. They're just cool to be around, and they're just fun people. So like, even if all I get out of the race is watching a bunch of like freaking Tasmanians heckle all the racers going through, like that's all I need. Like if somebody's yelling at Jack Moyer, telling him to go faster, like I'm here for this. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we're talking a little bit about my season, and as I do, I've gone a different direction. But like I said, I'm racing the Tennessee National in like 3 weeks, and clearly with my injury, I'm not going to be doing too much riding. I can't sit in the saddle too much, so I'm going to kind of come into it without a whole lot of practice. I'm going to try and get in on Monday and just ride out there as much as I can, and that'll get me dialed. That'll get me warmed up, kind of similar to what we've done with the BME, where you come in with the attitude of just getting to know the trails, and then by the end of it, your race pace is a lot faster than it would have been, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm really just like looking to build off of that. I've been going on road rides in here and everything, and getting out on the trails when they're not an absolute slot fest and when it's not 20 degrees and the whole deal. But I'm racing the Tennessee National, and then I'm racing Rock Creek, and then we're going out to Arkansas, and then I'm going out with my family. And then after that, we have Arizona. And then from Arizona, I'm driving up and racing in Kellogg, it's not the Eastern State Cup, it's the North American Enduro Cup up in Kellogg, which used to be in AWS qualifier before the EDR stepped in, the UCI stepped in. So I'm going to race that. It'll be a legit race. It should be really cool. A lot of good guys out there. I'm stoked on what it'll be, because I'm sure the field will be pretty stacked, and there'll be plenty of guys that I can learn from and just like slowly watch for seeing the distance. You know, like I'm really stoked on that bit.
Yes.
But then I'm going down to Colorado, and then I'm not sure if this has been announced yet. Not that I had insider info, but sometime around there will be the Enduro Championships, and it's usually at Winter Park. So if it has been announced and it works out my schedule, I'm going to be racing that. I got a cousin out in Winter Park. Just going to stay with him, and I just stoked to race that because that's where my downhill started with that rental bike out there, and I'm stoked to like get back into that. And then from there, we're going. Shoot, where are we going? I think. I'm racing something before Brian had. I couldn't tell you. Well, it's Perg, then Winter Park. Then I think it might just be Bryan Head, and then I'm going up. There might be another race in there. Oh, no. What it is it's Winter Park, racing that, and then I go straight to Bryan Head after that race. Cool. And then we're up to Big Sky for the big old finale, which I am stoked on because that place sounds so sick.
So good.
And then from there, it's like I got like 11 days to make it down to North Star. So nice. I'm going to loop up through the Pacific Northwest, ride Mount Bachelor, get out and around in that area, maybe make it to Bellingham. And I think my little brother's going to come in. And we're just going to like go on backpacking trips, go up into the Tetons in the area, and just like kind of have a good time, fart around, ride as much as we can. And then I'll go up to North Star. And then I might go to Yosemite and do some climbing. I haven't decided yet, but that would be pretty sick.
Did you see that? Did you see in Yosemite the big chunk of boulder fell off? Did you see that?
Dude. I know nothing about it. I'm going to be straight. I know nothing about it, but like that is ridiculous.
Whoa, I couldn't believe that.
As far as like climbing in Yosemite goes now, like that could change a lot of things.
Do you think they knew that was coming off? Do you think like they had an idea that was loose, or was that was just a freak fracture?
Yeah, that's like you can't predict that sort of thing because like on those fractures, like I'm sure they knew that it was unstable, but like they don't know when it's going to come down. It could stay in place for the next million years.
Yeah.
Or it could come down in 10 seconds, you know? Yeah. It's just one of those things. It's like you never know when it's going to fall.
Yeah.
And so crazy. Like, as far as I know, climbers on that side of the wall, I think it was the Dawn Wall. But if it was the Dawn Wall, Tommy Caldwell's not going to be happy about that, actually. Because he took like 10 years to put on the hardest route on El Cap. Finally got up. There's only 3 people that climbed it. Him, his partner, and then the best climber in the world, sport climber in the world. It's kind of the hardest grade. I'm going to look it up right now, actually, because I really want to know what happened there.
I just happened to see that clip on social media or something, and damn, I couldn't tell if it was just happened or was that like 10 years ago, but I think that was fresh. Like a fresh video I saw.
I think it probably was because it just happened like last week. Yeah. I found a little video. I'm going to watch it. Well, I'm not going to watch it, but like I'm going to see where the rocks fell on the thing. Because like there's one side of the wall that has like relatively easier routes and it isn't like horrible, you know?
Yeah.
That might be on the nose. If it's on the nose, then that just took down like quite a few historic routes on El Cap. But no, it looks like it might be off to the side. So I think as far as climbing goes, it's definitely affected it because like that valley is just like if you look at the wall, there's a route where you're looking, like period. Somebody's climbed it. And so like obviously like it took out some of the climbing in the area, but like that's also just kind of gnarly. I'd be interested to see because the climbers and the National Park Service there have always had like a really tumultuous relationship.
Sure.
And I'd be curious to see whether or not like this would affect any of the climbing in the gorge because like that's such an important, like that's where rock climbing, modern rock climbing, as far as like big wall climbing, was invented.
Yeah.
And Camp 7 out there. And like just a bunch of guys out there, like determining the ethos for rock climbing, like how you get up the wall and why it matters. And then like Lynn Hill, like the first person to ever free the nose is what we call it, to like go up El Cap. And when one continuous push, not hanging off anything, no aiding.
Yeah.
And I want to point out, because like I always say that and people are like, oh, first woman to do it. And it's like, no, like Lynn Hill is the first person to do it. Right. Like she beat all of these men to the top of this freaking wall. And she was the first person to ever like solo the nose, or not solo the nose. Holland's the first person to solo the nose. But she was the first person to do that.
That's cool.
And to circle back around to what I was saying with my rock climbing and the training.
Yeah.
Just real quick. I do want to highlight like the mental aspect of racing and riding and how you like, I always find it really interesting to listen to athletes and find out how they train that mental aspect, you know, because it isn't something that you're just born with, at least most people, I'd assume. Because like you feel it, when you're going real quick, like you get a little scared, like pure and simple. Like call it what you want. Like you don't want to crash in that moment.
Yes.
And like if you feel like you're going a little too fast, like comfort braking exists for a reason, like I'm gonna slow down a little bit. I'm not trying to break my neck. But like
you make me
like in rock climbing, you get a very similar thing because like you climbed above this bolt, and if you fall, you're gonna take a whimper. Like you're gonna fall below the bolt, and then you're gonna keep going for another like 5 feet or so, and like you're eventually gonna get out by the rope. But like you're holding onto a wall, and you're about to fall 15 feet if you let go. Like you're not let go if you have any other choice. Yeah. Like it's absolutely terrifying, and like that's probably like one of the scary things that I've seen. But like how good that trains you for mountain biking is ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It
makes
forces
perfect sense.
you to develop that attitude of like, it does not matter because I can't go back down. Because in rock climbing, it's so much harder to climb down than it is up.
Mm-hmm.
So like the way out is to get to the top. And like you have to develop that attitude of like, well, like that's not going to get me anywhere. And like towards your fear and towards your like, that mental thing that wants you to like give up or let go or like down climb or take a rest or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like keep going up. And like, that's what I really enjoy about taking people out rock climbing is like, no matter if you're on top rope, you're going to fall like 5 inches. If you fall, like there's a rope above you hanging from the thing, you're hanging off of it. Like there's still that fear when you're climbing of like your body doesn't want to let go.
Yeah.
And it forces you to like confront that fear of like that visceral fear of like, if I let go right now, I'm going to die. And then you being like, no, like I trust the person belaying me. And like, I trust myself to not let go. Yeah. And like, that's such a good carryover in the mountain biking and like that mental, like obviously I still have like my mental battles with mountain biking because as much of a good carryover that is, like there's a lot of other things going on in mountain biking to where like, yeah, like you're allowed to hit the brakes and still win the race,
Yeah. I love it. It's all mental. And then the faster you can go, the quicker you become, the smoother rider you are, the faster you are. Yeah. It's all mental. But then it's nice just to turn the whole, and then it's good just to turn the whole damn thing off and just go. And just be out there with the woods and go. Just go.
Exactly. Like you just trust yourself. You're like,
just trust. It's trust. It's
like you're looking at a feature and you're like, oh, I don't know, man. And you hit it and you're like, I got this.
Until I take a rib shot and then I'm like, I don't have this. I don't have this.
I know.
You get your stitches out tomorrow? Did you say you get your stitches out tomorrow?
Not quite tomorrow. It's Monday when the doc gets back in.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'm not stressed out by any means. Like surprisingly, there's no pain, like at all. It's not even really like a discomfort.
That's cool.
And, yeah, it's weird, but like I said, you definitely have the worst injury on this one.
Like, I've got pain.
I raced the race and like didn't even really feel it. Like I was good.
Yeah.
And it's just a really strange, really lucky injury. And for whatever reason, I'm just like, I basically am just going to sit on my ass and watch F1 for a week or two. And then,
Yep. Awesome. Well, let's wrap this up, man.
Yeah, for sure. Don't want to keep you in. Yeah. Got stuff to get out.
I appreciate this. I really, really appreciate this. And number one, heal the sack, get that fixed.
Heal the sack.
And then heal the sack. And then have an awesome race season, man. Like it's gonna be so fun to follow you. Man. And then I'll see you in a couple months in Nebo.
Yeah, if you don't see me out in North Carolina first, because I am.
Oh yeah, hit me up.
Race season. I'm sure it'll be awesome.
Yeah. Hit me up with the dates and we'll go ride. Okay. But anyway, thanks again, man. Sounds and like everybody, fun, I hope you enjoyed our chat. Jackson Lehrter, BME ops legend, up and comer pro rider.
see. We'll see. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and stoked to get everything underway. Thank you, anyone that made it this far, for listening to me ramble, and thank you again, Rich.
No problem, Jackson. Thanks so much, buddy. We'll catch up soon. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed Beyond the Rod. Catch you next week.